On the last Thursday in September, and the 14th day out of Ireland, the wind dropped to a flat calm, forcing the galley called La Sauvie to approach Dieppe under oar. The best ships, the reliable crews, and the senior captains had just brought the Scottish Queen Dowager to France. La Sauvie, built in 1520, was only fetching some Irish guests to the French court, a common errand enough. But her captain, an able courtier, was no seaman. Her seamen, through a misplaced concession, were far from sober, and her boatswain had been taking hashish for months. Thus, 2 hours off Dieppe, the flags and streamers lay ready on deck, a little too early. The oarsmen, capping shaved heads, were resting and re-engaging oars, and the pilot, involved with banners, was far too busy to attend to the wind. Robin Stewart, balked of small talk, had found a chair in the poop beside the fat Irishman who was asleep. There were 3 of them, and it was Stewart's task as one of the Royal Guard of Scottish archers in France to bring them safely to court. For a century and a half, Scottish archers had guarded the King of France day and night, had crowned him, fought with him, buried him, and were looked on, by others as well as by themselves, as the elite of the men-at-arms who served the French crown. Thus, Robin Stewart was used to odd jobs. Ferrying the King's less sophisticated guests to and fro was just one of them. Ahead was a reception party on the quay, a speech, a meal at the best Dieppe inn, and a good night's rest on a bed before the ride inland to deliver his guests. Nothing difficult there, but little to earn him money or fame either. Heir to nothing but an old suit of armour and a vacant post in the guard, Robin Stewart had always been deeply interested in money and fame, and had for a long time been convinced that in a world of arms, skill and hard work would still take you to the top, however doubtful your background. It had only latterly become plain that success in the world of arms ran a poor second to success in the world of intrigue, and that while no one worked harder, a good many people seemed to be more skilful than Robin Stewart. This was palpably impossible. He applied a good analytical brain to discovering how other people managed to give this appearance of excellence. He also spent a good deal of time trying to breach the stockade between reasonably paid routine soldiery and the inner chamber of princes or of bankers, or even at a pinch of the fashionable theologians. At the same time, he could not afford to lose ground in his regular job, however irritating its calls on him. He looked round now, counting heads. At his side, the prince's secretary was still asleep, in a poisonous aura of wine, his black head bound like a pot roast by the sliding shadow pattern of the rigging. Whether from panic or habit, Taddy Boy Bala had been asleep or stupefied for 2 weeks. Further off, Peter Dooley, the prince's servant, was just visible, fitted into a recess, like something doubtful on the underside of a leaf. And beyond them was the prince himself, their master, and his third and most important charge. Phelim o' Liam Roe, Prince of Barrow, son of Milesians, descendant of Carbery Cahid, of Art the Solitary, Tochel the Legitimate, and Fergus of the Black Teeth, cousin to Macon, whose calves were as white as the snow of one night, was thin and middle-sized, with a soft, egg-shaped face thatched and cupped with blonde whiskers. And at this moment, Stewart saw, he was bent double in fruitless converse with a coal-black bow-oar from Tunis, thereby closing the main thoroughfare of the galley to seamen, oarsmen, timoneers, soldiers, warders, ensigns, lieutenants, and captain alike. The sweating Moor, bearing down on 50 feet of solid beechwood, crashed back regularly and wordlessly on the 5-man bench like a piston, rowing 24 strokes to a minute, while the voice of the O'Liam Roe, chief of the name, Prince of Barrow, and feudal lord of the Slieve Bloom in the county of Ireland, warmly cordial, went on and on. And it would be queer if we didn't agree, with leverage itself the great wonder of the world, as my own father knew, and my grandfather 22 stones and bedridden. When they came from sluicing him down at the pump, they would lay the coffin lid over the turf stack next the bed and sit my grandfather at one end. They had a heifer trained to jump on the other, and when the lid was nailed over him at the end, my granny was blithe at the wake, for she got a powerful lot of bruising when he landed." Robin Stewart winced. He had had 2 weeks of it. At Dalkey, Ireland, he had had his first sight of the great man, as the O'Liam row had shinned ineptly and eagerly up the ladder, to stand revealed on the tabernacle of La Sauvie, a carefree, mild, and hilarious savage in a saffron tunic and leggings. His entire train, for which Mr. Stewart had cleared a compartment, consisted of 2. The small, wild firbolg called Dooley, and the comatose Mr. Ballard. Robin Stewart had been mortified, not by O'Liam Rowe's looks, or his dress, or his simple enjoyment of useless knowledge, but because he not only invited questions, he answered them. As a student of human nature, Stewart enjoyed a long, difficult analysis. His onslaughts were memorable. A man talking amicably about the art of the longbow would find that, by means known only to Mr. Stewart, this led straight to God, his total income, and where his schooling had taken place, if any.